Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And today we're going back to 1947.
Ooh, 1947.
Post-war America yearning for hope and optimism.
Yeah.
And what better film to explore than The Bishop's Wife? A heartwarming story about a bishop, right, his wife, and an angel who arrives to, shall we say, shake things up a bit.
It's fascinating how this film, much like It's a Wonderful Life,
Mm.
really tapped into that collective desire
Yes.
for something uplifting.
Mm-hmm.
But what's even more intriguing is how The Bishop's Wife goes beyond mere sentimentality.
Okay.
It uses a blend of humor, romance, and even some subtle social commentary
Interesting.
to deliver its message.
Okay, let's unpack this a little.
Yeah.
We have David Niven as the bishop.
Yes.
Henry Brome wrestling with the pressures of his role.
Right.
And perhaps losing sight of what truly matters.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's his wife, Julia, played by the radiant Loretta Young,
Yes.
who's trying to find her place amidst her husband's grand ambitions.
And into this dynamic walks Dudley the Angel, played with effortless charm by Cary Grant. Now, I know you probably can't imagine anyone else in that role,
Honestly, it's hard to picture.
but believe it or not, Cary Grant wasn't the first choice.
Really?
But I think fate had other plans,
Okay.
because Grant's portrayal of Dudley is what elevates this film from a sweet holiday story
Mm-hmm.
to something much more profound.
So help me understand this.
Yeah.
What is it about Dudley, about Cary Grant's performance that makes him so captivating?
Right.
I mean, he's an angel, so you'd expect him to be, well, angelic, but there's something more to him, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's not some ethereal being floating around with a halo.
Right.
Dudley is witty, charming,
Yeah.
and he even gets a little mischievous at times.
Interesting.
He's an angel who understands human foibles, and that's where the magic of Cary Grant's performance shines through.
Mm-hmm.
He makes Dudley relatable, someone we can both admire and identify with.
And how does this relatability tie into the film's deeper message?
Well, Dudley isn't just there to grant wishes or solve problems. He's a catalyst for change.
Oh,
He
right.
challenges Henry's priorities,
Mm-hmm.
encourages Julia to rediscover her passions,
Right.
and in the process, reminds everyone around him about the importance of love, connection, and finding joy in the simple things.
You know, you mentioned earlier that the film has some social commentary woven into the storyline.
Yes.
Where do we see that most prominently?
One of the most striking examples is the bishop's obsession with building a grand cathedral.
Okay.
He's become so consumed by this ambition that he's neglecting his family, his community,
Right.
and even his own spiritual well-being.
Mm-hmm.
The film, through Dudley's gentle guidance, questions whether such material pursuits
Yes.
truly align with the essence of faith and service.
So it's not necessarily a critique of religion itself,
Right.
but more about how our ambitions, even those rooted in noble intentions,
Right.
can sometimes lead us astray.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that's where the film's timeless relevance comes in. We all face those moments where we get caught up in the pursuit of something,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a career goal, material possessions,
Yes.
or even social status.
Right.
And sometimes we need a reminder, like Dudley provides, to step back
Mm-hmm.
and reassess what truly matters.
And it's not just about the message, right?
Right.
The film also uses some pretty innovative techniques for its time.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that skating scene
Oh, yes.
is simply breathtaking.
Absolutely. Remember, this was 1947,
Yeah.
long before CGI and special effects were commonplace.
Right.
That scene where Julia and Dudley glide effortlessly across the ice
It's beautiful.
was a groundbreaking blend of live action and optical effects.
Wow.
It's a testament to the filmmaker's vision
Mm-hmm.
and a key element in creating that sense of wonder and magic
Yes.
that permeates the film.
You know what's really interesting about that scene? It's not just visually stunning.
Yeah.
It also serves a narrative purpose.
Right.
It's a moment of pure joy and freedom.
It is.
A visual representation of the liberation that Dudley brings into Julia's life.
Yes.
It's like the film is saying, hey, let loose, embrace the beauty around you, and remember what it feels like to simply be alive.
And that sense of liberation is not just for Julia, it's for the audience as well.
I agree.
It's an invitation to tap into that childlike sense of wonder.
Yeah.
And remember the magic that exists in the everyday, especially during the holiday season.
Yes.
But the film doesn't shy away from the complexities of life either.
Okay.
There's a subtle tension,
Oh.
a darkness lurking beneath the surface.
Ooh, this is where it gets really interesting.
Yes.
Tell me more about this tension.
Okay.
How does the film balance the lighthearted elements with a sense of darkness?
Well, it's not overt,
Okay.
But if you look closely, you'll notice a subtle undercurrent of melancholy, particularly in Henry's character.
Okay.
He's burdened by the weight of his responsibilities,
Mm-hmm.
and perhaps even a sense of inadequacy.
And that's where we'll pick up when we come back.
Yes.
But before we dive deeper into the bishop's struggles, let's take a quick pause to gather our thoughts.
Sounds good. We were just discussing that subtle darkness
Right.
that kind of underscores the seemingly cheery facade of the bishop's wife.
Yes. We left off with Henry the Bishop grappling with some inner turmoil.
Right.
You mentioned a sense of inadequacy. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, it's not explicitly stated,
Okay.
but I think Henry's ambition, his fixation on building this grand cathedral, stems from a deeper place of insecurity.
Okay.
He's constantly comparing himself to others,
Right.
worried about his status, his legacy.
Okay.
He's lost sight of the true meaning of his calling.
And how does Dudley the Angel address this internal struggle?
Right.
He can't just wave his magic wand and make Henry's doubts disappear, can he?
No, and that's the brilliance of the film.
Okay.
Dudley doesn't offer easy solutions.
Right.
He doesn't preach or try to force Henry into a specific mold.
Right.
Instead, he guides him through a process of self-discovery, encouraging him to look inward and reconnect with his own values.
So it's more about asking the right questions.
Exactly.
Prompting Henry to examine his motivations.
Yes.
And rediscover his true purpose.
Exactly. And this process is beautifully illustrated
Okay.
in the scene where Dudley cooks that incredible Christmas Eve dinner.
You mean the one where he seemingly conjures a feast out of thin air?
Yes.
That scene always makes me hungry.
But it's more than just a display of Dudley's otherworldly abilities.
Okay.
It's a symbolic moment.
Mm-hmm.
Food, in many cultures, represents nourishment,
Right.
community, and connection.
Right.
By preparing this elaborate meal, Dudley is essentially nurturing Henry's soul,
Interesting.
reminding him of the simple joys in life.
And it's not just about the food itself, right? It's
Yeah.
the act of sharing a meal together,
Exactly.
of breaking bread and engaging in meaningful conversation.
Yes.
It's a reminder that true fulfillment comes from human connection, not material achievement.
Precisely. And it's through these seemingly ordinary moments
Okay.
that Dudley subtly steers Henry back on course,
Okay.
helping him to prioritize his relationships and rediscover the joy in serving others.
It's interesting how the film uses these everyday activities like cooking
Right.
and sharing a meal to convey profound spiritual truths. It's a reminder that spirituality isn't always about grand gestures or religious dogma.
Right.
It can be found in the smallest acts of kindness and connection.
Absolutely. And this brings us to another crucial element of the film.
Okay.
Its portrayal of faith. The bishop's wife doesn't shy away from exploring the complexities of faith.
Right.
The doubts, the struggles, and the moments of questioning that many people experience.
And it does so in a way that feels authentic and relatable, wouldn't you say?
Exactly.
I mean, even the bishop, a man of God, is grappling with his own uncertainties.
Exactly. And this is where the concept of magical realism comes into play.
Okay.
Dudley, as an angel, represents a tangible manifestation of faith. The reminder that there might be something beyond our everyday perception.
Right.
His presence in the film allows us to engage with these questions of faith and spirituality in a way that feels both whimsical and profound.
So it's not about forcing a particular belief system on the viewer,
Right.
but rather inviting them to consider the possibility of something greater,
Exactly.
something beyond the realm of our immediate understanding.
Precisely. And that's what makes The Bishop's Wife so enduring.
Okay.
It speaks to a universal longing for meaning, for connection, for something that transcends the mundane.
Yeah.
It reminds us that even in the darkest of times,
Right.
there's always hope, always a reason to believe in the power of love and the magic that surrounds us.
It's interesting how the film manages to balance this sense of wonder
Right.
with a grounded, realistic portrayal of human relationships.
Yes.
We see the characters struggle, make mistakes, and ultimately grow through their experiences.
Yeah.
They're flawed, relatable, and ultimately very human.
And that's what makes them so endearing.
Yes.
We see ourselves in them,
Right.
in their triumphs and their vulnerabilities. We root for them.
Yeah.
We empathize with them.
Right.
And in doing so, we learn something about ourselves along the way.
You know, you mentioned earlier that the film's release coincided with a time
Yes.
when post-war America was craving hope and optimism.
Right.
But I think its message transcends any particular era.
It does.
These themes of faith, compassion, and the importance of human connection are timeless, wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. The Bishop's Wife is a film that continues to resonate with audiences generation after generation because it speaks to something fundamental about the human experience.
Yes.
It reminds us that despite our differences, our struggles, and our imperfections, we all share a common desire for love, belonging, and a sense of purpose.
Yes.
And it reminds us that even in the face of adversity, we have the capacity to choose hope, to choose kindness, and to choose to see the magic that exists in the world around us.
And that sense of magic is beautifully embodied in the film's ending, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely.
Without giving too much away, it leaves the viewer with a feeling of upliftment
Right.
and a renewed sense of possibility.
It's a perfect ending, not because everything is neatly tied up
Right.
or all the problems are magically solved, but because it reaffirms the power of faith, love, and the human spirit
Yes.
to overcome obstacles and find meaning in the journey.
It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest miracles are found not in extraordinary events,
Right.
but in the quiet moments of connection, the simple acts of kindness, and the enduring power of love to transform our lives.
Yes.
But before we get too carried away with the magic of The Bishop's Wife, let's take a quick pause to gather our thoughts.
Okay.
When we return, we'll delve into some final reflections on this cinematic gem,
Sounds good.
and perhaps even spark some further contemplation for you, our dear listener. Welcome back to our deep dive into The Bishop's Wife. It's been a fascinating journey exploring the layers of this classic film, from its heartwarming moments to its more subtle social commentary.
We've discussed its timeless themes of faith, compassion, and the importance of human connection.
We've marveled at the groundbreaking special effects of that skating scene
Yes.
and delved into the complex characters, each grappling with their own internal struggles.
Right.
But as we wrap up our discussion, I can't help but wonder what makes a film truly resonate across generations. Why does The Bishop's Wife continue to captivate audiences even today,
Yeah.
decades after its release?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Is it the enduring power of the story itself?
Right.
The stellar performances by Cary Grant, David Niven, and Loretta Young? Or perhaps it's the film's ability to transport us to a world where magic and wonder intertwine with everyday life?
I mean, it's a combination of all those elements. But I think it also has something to do with the film's ability to speak to something universal within us.
Right.
It taps into those shared human experiences of longing, doubt, hope, and the search for meaning.
Yeah.
It reminds us that no matter our background or beliefs, we all share these fundamental desires and aspirations.
And it presents these themes in a way that's both entertaining and thought-provoking.
Right.
You can enjoy the charm, the humor, the romance,
Yes.
and yet walk away feeling like you've gained some insights into the human condition, perhaps even inspired to make a positive change in your own life.
Exactly. It's like the film offers a window into ourselves,
All right.
allowing us to reflect on our own relationships, priorities, and the
Yeah.
choices we make each day.
And maybe, just maybe, it encourages us to be a little more present, a little more compassionate, a little more open to the magic that surrounds us.
Yes.
It reminds us that even amidst the chaos and challenges of modern life, there's still room for wonder, for kindness, and for belief in something greater than ourselves.
Speaking of magic, I have to say the film's ending always leaves me with a sense of warmth and optimism.
Yes.
It's not a fairy tale ending where all problems vanish, but it does offer a sense of hope, a belief that even the smallest acts of kindness can ripple outwards and create positive change.
It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest miracles are found not in extraordinary events, but in the quiet moments of connection, the simple acts of love and compassion that weave the fabric of our lives.
Yes.
It reminds us that we all have the power to be a source of light and hope in the world, just like Dudley the angel, who gently guides those around him towards a path of joy, love, and fulfillment.
And on that note, as we conclude our deep dive into The Bishop's Wife,
Yes.
we invite you, our listener, to ponder a question.
Okay.
What other classic films hold timeless wisdom for today's world? What stories resonate with you on a personal level,
Yeah.
offering insights and inspiration for navigating the complexities of life?
We encourage you to continue exploring those films that spark your imagination, challenge your perspectives,
Yes.
and remind you of the beauty and magic that exists in the world around us.
Until next time, keep seeking out those stories that inspire, uplift, and remind us of the extraordinary power of the human spirit.